30. Disney Infinity 3.0. Continuing with the Toy to Life genre, Disney Infinity gave us a game that kids could enjoy with adults. 3.0 gives a huge yet incomplete roster to play as, spanning over the ever-growing franchises that Disney devours. The main appeal of the game was creativity. Creating your own levels and downloading levels from other creators was the selling point, and it was surprisingly and effectively intricate that had limitless possibilities, allowing players to create some of the crossovers of their dreams, ridiculous scenarios, or more mature themed instances, and some very impressive looking mechanics. Of course, if you weren't a creative type, you could still get enjoyment out of it by playing the additional content you could get like Star Wars campaigns and the Toy Box All-Star Brawler. Playing it today means that this is what you're limited to, as the servers were shut down in 2017, but it's still something I like to play for nostalgia, to justify the collection of my figures, or to just keep my nieces and nephews entertained when they visit. '29. Another World. Also known as Out of This World, Eric Chahi brings you a much harder and clunkier game about a professor named Lester who finds himself transported to an alien world and has to fight to survive. Using the art style and tech that would eventually become Flashback, the silent narrative is told in a weaker but still effective style. It also has a bigger emphasis on problem solving, where making a single mistake results in death. You know how people use the phrase, the dark soul of this genre? Well, no joke. Another World can genuinely be described as the Dark Souls of 2D puzzle platformers. Shot the enemies in the wrong order? Now your gun is out of ammo and you can't blow open the wall to advance further. Trial and error is a huge part of the game. You will die in so many ways, to so many things, sometimes to just pure bullshit, and other times you fail for something that isn't even your fault. See that guy? Better known as
Mike Aruba.
Mike Roomba.
He's meant to open the door while you cover him. If he makes it there, cause, I'm able to totally shoot things that are off screen. Despite the difficulty, the performance issues, the delayed controls that can ruin a run, and the shoddy gunplay, it's a memorable experience to have, and there are some genuinely entertaining moments to play through. If you can make it that far. '28. Lost Vikings 2. One of Blizzard's forgotten series, the Lost Vikings are now nothing more than a cameo in WoW. Back in the day though, they were the stars of a platform puzzle series that sadly only saw 2 titles. The PS1 version of the second entry was my jumping on point in the series, and I'm glad that it was. The first thing that caught my interest was the beginning cutscene that showed off some of the most talented voice actors in the business at the time. Jim Cummings.
Oh, look! A big shiny thingy! And there's a sign on it! It says Donuts!
Jeff Bennett.
The sign said do not touch, not donuts!
Rob Paulson.
What's a donut?
Tress McNeil.
What's a donut?
Kath Soucie.
I am the sorceress Karen. Is there any way I can repay you for saving me?
And Frank Welker.
No, but if you can get me out of here, I promise to help you hunt him down.
The Vikings once again end up lost in time and have to find their way home by solving puzzles using their unique skills. You'll also meet 2 new playable characters, Fang, the Gilbert Godfrey sound-alike.
I'm a wolf, bright boy. My name is Fang.
And Scorch, a parody of Sean Connery.
I am Scorch the Dragon, and I always keep my word.
The puzzles get harder and the death of a character will result in an instant failure, which isn't annoying in the slightest, no, never. But the challenge level is just right to offer up an entertaining experience all the way to the end. And you can bring a friend along on the journey too, as 2 heads are definitely better than 1 to solve some of these puzzles. '27. Marvel Infinity War. Previously known as Marvel's Second Alliance, we have another SWTOR fangame entry and another game crafted with love for the subject matter. It plays slightly differently to the Justice League Legacy game and has better and fairer AI, but not completely, as bosses can still spam attacks and rely too much on ad spam. To make up for it though, up to 4 players can team up from a large roster of Marvel heroes, including guest and joke characters, to travel and fight in a large number of familiar locations and foes from the Marvel Universe. The combat plays different too, as you have access to some different move inputs and pickups that let you summon allies to assist you. More modes are available with a main story, a boss rush, and joke levels to enjoy. Now, Marvel Infinity War isn't updated as much anymore and is pretty much a complete product, so don't expect anything new for a long time. As usual, if you want to try this for yourself, or if you want a more in-depth look at this game, the links you'll need are down below. "26. Plate Up. If Overcut looks like fun, but Tools Up looks too dull, then another alternative is Plate Up. It does come with the stress of running a restaurant, but you can actively try to make that stress easier by rearranging the furniture to make your jobs a lot better to do. You can also unlock new foods to cook and furniture to store in your warehouse to give yourself a boost from the very start of a new run. As you continue through the day, and assuming you haven't killed each other by now, you will be given a choice of extras to add to the restaurant. Will you make it harder to run for more money, or make it easier but have less customers? Whatever you choose, if you play it smart, you can end up with a restaurant that pretty much runs itself. It's also been updated fairly regularly since it was released, so brand new content is available for free for anyone who played it before and wants to come back to it. 25. Cadillacs and Dinosaurs. Those of you who've been with the channel for long enough will know that this was the very first game I ever covered in the arcade series. If you want a more in-depth look at that, then the link to that will be at the end of the video. But to summarise it quickly, based on a strange comic, Cadillacs and Dinosaurs takes place in a world where humans and dinosaurs exist, but there are those who wish harm on the dinosaurs, and the only way to solve that problem? Like we did back in the 90s, with violence. It's a great beat 'em up, but played by few, as most people have never heard of it, let alone played it. Great times to be had, many dinos to befriend, and many faces to break in the name of nature. 24. State of Decay 2. Life is tough, yet when it's tough in a video game, we love it. State of Decay 2 offers players a chance to try and think tactically about surviving the apocalypse in a roguelike. To survive, you will need to use your head in and outside of the base. Outside, you'll need to clear out infestations, keep your base defended, and scout for supplies. Inside, you'll need to keep your community happy and healthy, upgrade the base, and decide between peace and war when it comes to other survivors. Your leader type will also determine how your story will evolve, and when you finish the story, you'll unlock new bonuses to help you take on harder difficulties. Ever since its release in 2018, its developer, Undead Labs, has continued to update it with new features, items, gameplay elements, events, and modes. Popular examples include the legacy pools, where you can store some of your favourite survivors safe for future playthroughs, and the bounty hunter, who offers limited time bounties to unlock gear. And in the latest update, it means that the zombies will now try harder to invade your territory if you make your presence known to them. It could do with some other improvements, like being able to access the items you unlock from the bounty hunter in a similar manner to the legacy pool, so that you don't lose them when you complete a run, and with the third title on the way, let's hope they implement some of these wanted features. And actually release it. Even without that, the base game alone is very hands-on, and it feels like every decision and mistake you make matters. 23. Castle Crashers. A classic beat 'em up with unapologetic violence, dark, immature humour, and solid gameplay. Up to 4 players take on the roles of the Castle Crashers, who slaughter their way across the land to save the King's daughters and recover his oversized crystal. With a ton of pets, memorable bosses, hand-drawn graphics, lots of weapons, characters to unlock, and OP status to achieve, you'll want to replay the adventure over and over again to experience the best bits and get every reward possible in order to see everything the game has to offer. 22. Diablo 3. At the time of this editing, and hopefully by the time this video comes out, Diablo 4 is on the way, and in no way was this intentionally timed to try and chase the elusive algorithm. Of the 3 main titles to date, the Divisive 3 was one I originally didn't want to touch because I was under the impression you couldn't customize your skill tree and were stuck with whatever skills you were given. Thankfully, after trying it out as a demo, I was gladly mistaken and the customization was still there and I had a great time. As did my best friends, so the 3 of us chose our classes, fought our way through hell, heaven and earth to defeat the bastard that won't take the hint to stay dead. As time went on, they added transmogrification, 2 new classes and a season mode for additional content to earn, giving it even more replayability. Of course, the main appeal is the violence and the plot, the cast, the endless amount of loot to require, an effective modification and upgrade system, Deckard Cain, and the beautifully grotesque and eerie environments filled with devilish fiends to destroy however you see fit. Whether you want to charge in with raw power, gather the magic and throw it out your fingertips, or raise an army of undead friends, you'll find something to suit your fighting desires as you and your team become the very thing hell fears. 21. Earth Defense Force 2017. Have you ever wanted to play a kaiju game but from the perspective of the humans? Well, say hello to the cult favourite Earth Defense Force series, where you defend the Earth from alien invaders that use giant insects and robots who seek to rule the Earth. As you may expect, it presents itself like a kaiju movie too. The awkward voice acting has that same tone of an English dub, the buildings crumble like the models in Godzilla, and the corpses of giant insects fly around like a rubber suit being abused. And, just like Godzilla, it got an American adaptation that failed to capture the charm and soul of the original source material. Gameplay wise, for a low budget title, it's very competent. Not perfect, but it's not awful either. The controls are easy and functional, it's fully co-op up to 2 players, the levels are a bit long but full of enemies which only become more dangerous as they introduce new enemies at a steady pace, of which you will be able to destroy by collecting a huge amount of weapons for your arsenal. It's mindless destructive fun, and, let's be honest, we all need that from time to time.